Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel. It is me, your girl, Goddess of Love and Truth Reacts, coming to you with another video reaction upload. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber or viewer, welcome back. All of you guys' support is greatly and truly appreciated. If you have not subscribed to the channel as of yet, be sure to click that subscribe button, click that bell notification for all so that you never miss an upload. By liking the video and doing the new feature, hyping the video, and subscribing to the channel, you do get to help me and my channel grow by getting in and remaining in the YouTube algorithm. All of you guys' support is greatly and truly appreciated. And to show my appreciation, I am doing a series of subscriber givebacks where I give cash money back to my subscribers to show my appreciation. We've already reached the first 1,000 subscribers, and I gave away $100. The next subscriber give back is 5,000 subscribers, and I will be giving back a total of $200. There are several more give backs after that. There's one for $500. There's $1,000, $2,000. I may be missing one, but check out this intro video here to see the list of the remaining subscriber givebacks and enjoy the intro video to the channel shown here.
I should have known that I was better off for you. No, before I let another man break your heart. If I had knew that he would go and play with you, I would have kept a hold of your heart. But it's good to see you smile again. Girl, it's good to see you smile. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good to see you smile again. Girl, it's good to see you smile. Oh, glad to see that it's finally working out. Oh, I see you walking different, even talking different. Whole mood has changed, girl, you a vibe now, like you was a vibe then. Before he broke your heart, now you can live again. But that's his loss, you a boss, eating from a away. I pick you up when you down, just to make sure you're okay. If you living, then I live to see that smile upon your face. If you living, then I live to see that smile upon your face. Girl, I should've known that I was better off for you. No, before I let another man break your heart. If I had knew that he would go and play with you, I would have kept a hold of your heart. But it's good to see you smile again. Girl, it's good to see you smile. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good to see you smile again. Girl, it's good to see you smile. Glad to see that it's fine. I got your back, you got my back. I'm here to make sure that you're straight. I got your back, you got my back. I'm here to make sure that you're straight. But that's his loss, you boss, eating from a away. I pick you up when you down, just to make sure you okay.
All right, you guys, we're about to get into another story time reaction. This one is titled, Millionaire Saw His Maid Sleeping on the Street. What he did next shocked everyone. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Next on the docket. As a reminder, all of the content and the reaction and reviews on this channel is covered by fair use and copyright infringement. See the screen below for the copyright and fair use details.
A billionaire saw his maid sleeping on the street. What he did next will shock even you. What did he do? We'll stick to the end to find out, and please show support for our channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing with your loved ones. And do not forget to turn on the notification bell so you do not miss a single story. Now let's jump right into it. My name is Leanne Monroe, And for 2 years, I scrubbed, swept,
And I will link the video down in my description so you guys can go over and subscribe to their channel as well, okay?
folded, and polished my soul out for a man who couldn't even remember my last name. Mr. Darnell Brooks was a household name in Lincoln Hills, Illinois, a luxury neighborhood tucked between Lake Glendale and people with too much money and not enough heart. He owned properties up and down the East Coast, made millions through real estate flipping and private equity, and wore his suits like armor. I, on the other hand, wore second-hand uniforms with fading name tags and holes near the seams. For him, I was just the help, and I kept it that way. Quiet, quick, invisible.
It's true.
For him, I was just the help, and I kept it that way. Quiet, quick, invisible. Until one bitter December night when everything changed. It was snowing hard the day he fired me. The sky was a cruel, pale gray, and the wind moved like it had something against the living.
Jeez, oh, Pete, he fired her on the day that it was snow. I ain't mean to laugh, but dang, that's cruel. It was snowing? Goodness, sir.
I'd been late that morning, only 6 minutes, and that was all it took. Darnell.
Well, girl, you was late. Are you late all the time? I mean, that's still, dang, the snow. But are you late all the time? Because if you late all the time, you know you do get fired for that.
Was pacing in the grand hallway of his Tudor-style estate when I walked in, soaked from slush and wind-burned, clutching a threadbare scarf around my neck. His eyes didn't even lift when he said,
well, maybe she was late because of the snowstorm. You know, stuff happens. It does happen, hey. Child, dang. Come on, Mr. Billionaire Man. Give her some grace.
"You're dismissed."
Dang,
"Sir?" I asked,
dismissed.
my voice low, hoping maybe he was talking about something else. A vendor, a guest. He looked up, impatient. "We're done here. You're not reliable." No questions, no chance to explain, no notice, no kindness. I opened my mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Instead, I just nodded and left. I didn't want to beg. He didn't know, of course. He didn't know that I'd been sleeping in the storage area behind the wine cellar for months. That I had nowhere else to go after my mama's stroke back in Baton Rouge. I was sending nearly every dime I made to help with hospital bills and food for my little brother. He didn't know my apartment was gone. That my phone had been cut off. That my boots had holes in them covered with duct tape inside. That day I didn't go to a shelter. They were all full or too dangerous. I didn't go to a friend's place. I had none left nearby.
Oh, wow. So she was living in his storage space all that time. I didn't know. Now, why was you late, though? But all right, we listen and we don't judge, honey. But damn, she was sending all her money back to Baton Rouge for her family. Wow, she done lost her apartment. Now she lost her job and her secret hideaway apartment. Jeez, oh, Pete. It get hard, it get hard.
I didn't even have a bus token. I just walked. I walked for blocks until my legs gave out, then sat down on a park bench near the intersection of 14th and Madison, a few blocks from the financial district where folks rushed past like time owed them something. I told myself I'd just rest for a moment. Just a moment. Close my eyes, let the wind stop stinging for a second. That's the last thing I remembered. Across town, Darnell's morning was falling apart too. But in an entirely different way. His driver had canceled last minute because of icy roads, and for once he had to walk to his meeting. Just a few blocks. Just a brisk 10-minute trek past Union Park.
Won't he do it? You done dismissed this girl. Your driver can't even get there now. You gotta walk in the cold too, child.
Darnell hated walking. He said sidewalks were for people who haven't figured life out yet.
Oh, wow.
But there he was, leather gloves pulled tight, chin tucked into his collar, moving fast through the freezing air, steam rising from manholes like ghosts from below. That's when he saw me. I can only imagine how I must have looked. Slumped on that bench like discarded laundry, my blue Maid uniform crusted with snow, my fingers curled inwards, my lips pale, body barely moving. At first, he walked right past. Of course he did. Then something stopped him. Maybe guilt, maybe curiosity, maybe just the twitch of memory. He turned back, took a step closer, then 2 more. He saw my face. I wasn't just a frozen stranger anymore. I was Leanne, the woman who used to bring him hot towels after workouts, The woman who made sure his fireplace was always burning before he came downstairs. The woman he fired. Leanne?
Leanne, the woman who been taking care of you, child. Probably would have found you another driver. But no, it was the roads was bad, honey.
He said out loud, blinking in disbelief. I didn't respond. I couldn't. He reached out, his gloved hand brushing my arm. I was stone cold. My skin, he later told me, felt like touching metal left out in the snow. That's when...
I was going to say that. I was like, baby, she could have froze to death if she wasn't already, but apparently not because they're speaking as if they are her, so we know she's still alive.
Panic hit him. Not the kind born from missed deals or crashing stocks. This was deeper. Human. Instinctual. He called 911, his voice shaking. I need an ambulance. There's a woman unconscious. She's freezing. Please hurry. He didn't hang up. He sat there with me, brushing snow off my shoulders, ignoring the people staring, ignoring the...
Well, at least he had some compassion because he know he put her out. Well, he probably didn't know that she didn't have a home, but he know he just fired her. But at least he saw her and he stopped and he had some compassion. Maybe that's why God made your ride not come and you had to walk so you can walk by, see her and save her. You know, baby, won't he do it, honey? Everything
fact that his $5,000 wool coat was now soaked. For the first time in probably years, his schedule didn't matter. Only I did. The EMTs arrived within 10 minutes. 10 long minutes, where he sat whispering things I couldn't hear, apologizing for things he didn't fully understand yet. I was carried away on a stretcher, bundled like a child in emergency blankets. He followed. Not because he had to, but because something in him cracked open that day. At Lincoln Regional Hospital, I was diagnosed with severe hypothermia and borderline pneumonia. Oh, wow. They said another 40 minutes outside, and I'd have died. When I finally opened my eyes 2 days later, everything felt like a dream. My body ached, my mouth was dry, my chest rattled when I breathed, and there, sitting beside my bed like a statue carved in gilt, was Darnell Brooks. His tailored suit looked slept in. His face was pale, his eyes red. Am I dead? I whispered. He blinked. No, you're alive. You're safe now. I stared at him.
That was sweet of him not to only stop there and save her, but then he stayed by her bedside the entire time. And like she said, his suit looked like it had been slept in, so he probably haven't gone home since she been there. Aw, you was mean and cruel before, but you had to change your heart. I love it. I love to see it.
Then looked away. Why are you here? He was quiet for a moment, then said the words I never expected to hear from a man like him. Because I should have seen you. I should have known, and I didn't, and I'm sorry. Something in me shattered. Not because he said sorry, but because I knew he meant it. I turned toward the wall, eyes full of tears. I wasn't late on purpose, I whispered. I didn't sleep the night before. I had to pick up meds for my mama. I walked all night to make it here. He nodded slowly, and I never asked. I just assumed. That's my shame, not yours. He didn't leave that night. Not once. Not even when the nurses asked if he wanted to...
Wait, I'm confused. How you picking up meds for your mom, but your mom is in Baton Rouge sick, and that's where you've been sending the money to? What happened, y'all? What? Okay, we're going to let that slide, though.
Rest. And that was just the beginning. By the time the snow melted outside Lincoln Regional Hospital, something else had started thawing, too. Inside Darnell. He returned to his mansion the next morning. Not as the stone-faced mogul his staff feared, but as a man visibly shaken. The house, once sterile and pristine like a showroom, now felt too big, too cold, too quiet. Felt too big, too cold, too quiet. He gathered everyone, his housekeeper, his driver, 2 groundskeepers, the chef, and his assistant, who had already emailed him 6 times about missing his conference call with the Singapore investors. They stood in the foyer beneath the
Singapore is so beautiful. I just want to say that.
Crystal chandelier, not knowing what to expect. Darnell was never one for meetings outside of the boardroom, let alone ones involving people who changed sheets or trimmed hedges. But he stood there, hands behind his back, eyes locked on the tiled floor as if looking through it. I want to tell you all something, he began. Something I should have said a long time ago. They exchanged nervous glances. He never said anything he didn't have to. I fired Leanne last week without asking a single question. She had worked in this home for over 2 years. Quietly, efficiently. Never once complained, never once asked for more, and I threw her out in the cold for being 6 minutes late. A pause. Then, she almost died on a bench downtown from the cold, alone, because of me. Silence gripped the room. His assistant.
At least he's seeing the errors of his ways and he admitting to it, baby. I thought maybe she had been late before, so out of 2 years, she only was late that one time for 6 minutes and you fired her. Jeez, oh, peace. But at least you had to change your heart, honey, and you coming back and you realize your ways and you been trying to make a change, okay? I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. I'm gonna feel real good. I'm gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. Okay.
Assistant fumbled with his tablet. His gardener swallowed visibly. And the cook, Miss Rowena, who had worked in that home longer than all of them, covered her mouth and started crying softly. I can't take back what I did, but I won't pretend it didn't happen either. Darnell said, voice low. I've built towers across this country, and yet I couldn't see a woman collapsing under the weight of a life I never bothered to ask about. That's not success. That's blindness. He lifted his head and said the 2 hardest words of his life. I'm sorry. That was the first time in 20 years that Darnell Brooks had apologized to anyone not wearing a suit. The story traveled faster than he expected. A jogger who'd taken a photo of me sleeping on that snow-covered bench had posted it on social media with the caption, "How do we let this happen?" It went viral. Thousands of comments. News anchors calling it shocking negligence. Radio stations debating if employees.
Now, why would they do that? And see, and if he hadn't come and apologized in front of all his staff, then it wouldn't have never been reported. So that's like his staff, whoever leaked it, they wrong as hell, because at least he was wrong and it was messed up, but he the one saved her. He saw the errors of his ways. He brought her back and he let all of them know that he was wrong for it and he apologized. Now, I could see if the man had already put the story out before all of that, but to do it after this man apologized to try to make him hurt more, that's wrong as hell. And whoever leaked that should be fired.
Owed their domestic staff more than just paychecks. Think pieces, TikToks, reposts, hashtags. Everyone wanted to know who the woman in the blue uniform was. But no one expected the CEO of Brooks Holdings to say nothing to the press. Instead, he visited the hospital every day, quietly. No cameras, no PR team. Just Darnell in a navy pea coat, holding a bag of clementines because he remembered me once saying they reminded me of home. When I was well enough to walk again, 3 weeks later, I was discharged. I stood in the lobby of the hospital, unsure where to go. I had no place waiting. The shelter was full.
Oh, I thought he had already brought her back, but okay, she was still at the hospital, as she said. So we finna see, he probably finna bring her back for sure, though.
Again. My brother had barely scraped together enough to keep our mom's medications going. Then I saw it. A sleek black town car parked right out front, and Darnell was standing beside it. He wasn't in his usual 3-piece business suit. No flashy cufflinks, just slacks, gloves, and a wool coat zipped halfway. In his hands were a soft gray coat, a thick scarf, and a new pair of boots, sturdy, warm, and just my size. This isn't charity, he said before I could speak. It's a correction. I stood frozen, unsure of what to say. He added, I'm not offering you your old job. I'm asking you to come stay, in the guest wing, to heal, to rest.
Oh, sucky ducky. Come on, Daryl. So he not giving her her job. He giving her a place to stay. He finna take care of her. He said, you come stay in the guest wing, baby. Rest and get yourself back together, honey. Is you gonna send her mama's, the family some money for the medications? Cause baby, they need the medications, honey.
Have a warm bed while you figure out your next chapter. I wanted to say no. Every part of me wanted to protect what little pride I had left. But the truth was, those hospital bills alone would have buried me for years. And I had no home to return to. I nodded, slowly, okay, but only for a little while. He smiled, and for the first time ever, it didn't look forced. The guest wing was unlike any space I'd ever been allowed into. High ceilings, soft gold light fixtures, a reading nook with thick woolen throws, a heated bathroom floor. Candles that smelled like vanilla and cedar. He'd even stocked the fridge with my favorite almond milk and those Louisiana red beans I once mentioned.
Come on, almond milk. See, that's the milk I drink. I don't drink that cow's milk. Give me some almond milk or some oatmeal milk. I said oatmeal milk. Y'all know what I mean, some oat milk. But I hardly drink oat milk. It's mostly the almond milk, the vanilla kind, okay? Sweetened.
During meal prep. There was no schedule, no tasks, just rest. A private doctor came twice a week, a therapist once. And 3 days after I arrived, my brother Emmanuel and Mama showed up too, safely flown in.
I said that. I said to bring them there. I didn't say the brother, but he did that too. Come on, what's your name, Darnell? See, that's what I'm talking about. I said it. I was like, can you send some medication and money down there for the family? I said, or better yet, bring the mama there, baby. He done brought the mama and the brother. Come on, Darnell, show him you sorry. I'm sorry.
Now living in a cozy 2-bedroom apartment just 6 blocks away.
Okay.
Darnell had leased it in their names. No publicity, no fanfare. Just dignity. No fanfare. Just dignity. Each night, Darnell would check in. Not like a boss, more like, I don't know, a friend trying to learn how to become a better human. We'd sit by the fireplace in the west parlor, sipping herbal tea. He asked about my hometown, about the creek I used to swim in, about my first job cleaning houses at age 12, about my dream of becoming a social worker before Mama's stroke changed everything. He listened, really listened, like no one ever had before. I used to think people like you had easy lives, he admitted one evening. I raised an eyebrow. People like me? You know, quiet, polite, invisible. I thought if you weren't complaining, you weren't struggling. I smiled bitterly. Sometimes silence is the last form of dignity people have.
Right.
He didn't argue. He just nodded. 3 weeks into my stay, I began helping his staff in little ways. Not working, just observing. Asking questions, noting the cracks no one else saw. It became obvious that I wasn't the only one whose story had been ignored. Housekeepers working 16-hour shifts with no insurance. Gardeners whose overtime hours mysteriously vanished from payroll. Nannies expected.
Wait a minute now. So you apologize to your staff and you still mistreating them? Come on, Darnell, do better.
To travel without additional pay. Darnell was horrified when I showed him my notes. How did I miss all this? He asked, reading through the pages.
So he got somebody else taking care of the staff doing the payroll and stuff properly. I hope so, because how did you miss this? Like, come on now, Mr. Billionaire, you about your business. You supposed to know about what's going on in your house. Baby, not 16 hours and they ain't got no insurance and stuff. And what was the other stuff they said? I know you effing lying. Darnell. Come on now, that's why they didn't care and still leaked the story after you went and took care of her, because baby, you gonna have to do better. They still don't like you. That's why they leaked it. I understand now. Okay, but hopefully you gonna do better. You seem like you're a good man and you had to change your heart. So let's get to it.
I didn't sugarcoat it because you never looked. A few days later, he asked to meet with me formally. We sat in his office, but it didn't feel intimidating anymore. He slid a folder across the table. I want you to consider taking on a new role, Director of Employee Care and Ethics, across all my properties, not just this house. I blinked. What? You'd be salaried, full benefits, office space. You'd report directly to me. You'd be responsible for making sure no one ever slips through the cracks again. My hands trembled. You trust me with this? He looked me dead in the eye. I've never trusted anyone more. I didn't say yes right away. That night, after Darnell offered me the position of Director of Employee Care and Ethics, I walked back to the guest room and closed the door behind me. I sat on the bed and stared at the folder he gave me. Salary breakdown, job description, company structure. Everything was outlined in detail. It wasn't a symbolic role. It was real. It was powerful. But something in me hesitated. Was I ready to step into a room where people once looked straight through me? Where they whispered when I entered, or worse, didn't acknowledge me at all? Could I move from being the maid to becoming a woman with authority, decisions, and influence? I opened the folder again and reread the final line on the offer letter. You are not a second thought. You are the future we should have seen sooner. I let the tears come this time. Not because I was sad, but because I finally felt seen. The next morning, I met Darnell in his study. He stood when I entered, something he'd never done before. "I accept," I said. He didn't smile wide or make a big scene, just nodded once like it was the most natural thing in the world. And from that day on, everything began to shift. I started by visiting each of his properties, from the lakefront condo in Milwaukee to the 3-story brownstone in DC. I met the teams, sat with the staff, ate in the employee break rooms, asked questions no one had ever asked before. "Do you feel safe working here? Do you have someone you can talk to when there's a problem? What does fairness look like to you?" They looked confused at first, hesitant, but over time, walls came down. Truth came out. At one estate, a live-in cook revealed he hadn't had a single day off in 5 months.
Oh, hell no.
At another, a housekeeper admitted she was paying for a shoulder injury out of pocket because she didn't understand the health coverage. In Miami, a gardener broke down crying because
Oh, wow. Child, that's crazy that he didn't know all this was going on with his staff. Like, child, I take back everything I said about them snitching him out and letting the people know so they can put it on social media how bad of a boss he was. Goodness. But at least he trying to make a change now. But damn, Darnell, this man have worked 5 months and ain't had a day off, baby. Baby. Child, and I know it's a story time, but baby, it happened like that for real, like where people allow these jobs to, just I used to be like that too, thinking I can't quit a job and and not thinking I couldn't because I had to pay bills. You know what I'm saying? When I had younger kids, my son and my sister, they was younger or whatever, I had to do what I had to do to take care of them. I couldn't just up and quit or whatever. And these jobs, they don't be giving a damn about us, which is crazy. But like now, baby, I wish a job would, honey. Deuces. Cause like I learned that maybe, yeah, you might have some hard times or whatever, but you're gonna find something better or whatever. But the best thing to do is be looking for something better. Or start your own businesses, like I did. Get you something where you can start you some stuff and have your own money to the side or whatever. And even with that, sometimes that don't always fall through because, baby, especially with starting a business, it be up and it be down. And sometimes you make money, sometimes you don't, okay? But I always be looking for something else. Don't let these jobs wear you out, where you losing your life because, baby, you ain't nothing but a number to them. They gonna replace you in a minute. These jobs do not give a damn, okay? I'm just saying, it's sad. It's a crazy world that we live in, honey. Well, I wouldn't even say a crazy world because all countries are not like the United States. A lot of countries that I visited, they make you have days off. You can only work a certain amount of hours. They don't work every day, all day like how we do. And they get free health care. You know what I'm saying? They get free health care. They don't have to pay for health care. And then when you have a baby, it's mandatory time off for you and your spouse. You know what I'm saying? And it's paid for. They pay for your labor and your delivery. It's a lot of countries out there where they actually take care of their people and they will not let you overwork. Like, I love places like that. But, child, unfortunately, here in the United States, we get treated bad, honey.
no one had ever said thank you for his 20 years of service. I wrote everything down, created new policies, hired a small team to help me audit and rebuild every HR process. And Darnell? He backed every decision. He started attending monthly check-ins with staff himself, sitting beside them instead of at the head of the table. He introduced bonuses, mental health resources, and scholarships for employees' children. He wasn't just...
That's good. See, he's not a bad man. He just was too busy and occupied with his own life that he didn't think, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes it be like that, like a person not really just bad. They just be preoccupied with their own life and what they got going on, that they don't think about the other people. I mean, it's crazy to say, but it does happen. But at least he's making a change now. So shout out.
Fixing a broken system. He was changing his soul. One evening, as we were reviewing a quarterly ethics report in his office, Darnell paused and said, "You know what I regret the most?" I looked up from my notes. "What's that?" "That I needed the whole world to see you frozen on a bench before I saw you as human." I didn't say anything. What could I say? But then he added, "That won't happen again. Not under my watch. Not on my name." About 3 months after I took the position, Darnell hosted a charity gala in the mansion's ballroom. It was for a literacy nonprofit that helped underserved youth in the Midwest. Every inch of the room was transformed. Gold chandeliers, glass centerpieces, string quartets, the smell of roasted garlic and fresh roses in the air. Guests wore designer gowns, silk suits, diamonds that glinted with every movement. I stood near the side, wearing a navy blue dress Darnell had insisted on buying for me. My hair was braided neatly down my back, and for once, I didn't feel like I was out of place. I felt like I belonged.
Every girl needs a vintage.
Didn't feel like I was out of place. I felt like I belonged. Then, something unexpected happened. Darnell tapped the mic. The ballroom quieted. He cleared his throat, glanced at the crowd, and began. I've spent the better part of my life building skyscrapers, chasing contracts, and expanding my name across portfolios. And I thought that made me powerful. He paused. The room was silent, but a woman I barely saw, who served in my home with quiet dignity, showed me what real strength looks like. She showed up when the world forgot her. She endured when no one noticed. She suffered in silence because men like me didn't ask. He turned toward me. And tonight, I want you to meet the woman who changed everything. My heart stopped. I froze. Everyone turned. People who had never looked twice at me. Guests in jewels and heels, developers, lawyers, journalists now stood and clapped. For me, I walked to the stage slowly, hands shaking, heart thudding so loud I was sure it echoed off the marble walls. When I reached the microphone, I didn't read a speech. I didn't have one. I looked at the faces in the room, then said, I used to think power meant owning something, controlling something. But now I know. It's about lifting someone. It's about seeing someone. It's about doing the right thing even when nobody's watching.
That's right.
I paused. I was in
Integrity, doing the right thing when nobody is watching, okay?
visible, but I'm not anymore. The applause was thunderous, not out of pity, out of awe. Backstage, after the gala ended, a young woman approached me. She was one of the catering staff, maybe 20 or 21. Her name tag said Jasmine. She whispered, Miss Monroe, your story? That was me last year. I was homeless, working nights, trying to keep my little sister fed. My eyes welled. You're not invisible either, I said, placing a hand over hers. She nodded, tears rolling down her cheeks. Later that night, after the last guest had left and the music had faded, Darnell found me on the back patio overlooking the lake. You were remarkable, he said. I looked up at the stars. No, I was just honest. He exhaled.
He gonna fall in love with her, child. I'm hoping I have a happy ending where they end up getting married or something. I'm waiting on it.
Same thing sometimes. 2 days after the gala, I stood in front of the mirror in my new office. Yes, my office, inside the main administrative building of Brooks Holdings. Frosted glass doors, a framed photo of my family on the desk, sunlight spilling across the cream rug. I looked at myself. Same face, same eyes, same scar under my chin from when I fell off Mama's porch at 11. But something had changed. For the first time in years, I saw a woman I respected staring back at me. Not the maid who scrubbed toilets behind closed doors, not the girl who hid behind yes sir smiles, but the director, the leader, the survivor. I threw myself into my work even harder after that. We launched the Invisible No More initiative, a company-wide program that focused on 3 key things: proper pay and benefits for domestic staff, training managers to recognize and
I want her to know and everybody know it don't matter what job you have. You cleaning toilets, if you're a maid, you're a janitor, or even if you're a business person in a suit, everybody still deserves love and respect, okay?
respond to distress, creating emergency support funds for workers facing family or housing crises. We rolled it out across 6 properties in the first month. The feedback poured in like water bursting through a dam. Janitors who had worked 30 years were finally recognized. A cook at the Seattle estate told us she finally got her first dental checkup in a decade, paid for by the company's new benefits. A chauffeur in Atlanta shared how he used the emergency fund to pay for his daughter's textbooks. The stories kept coming. And with every story, I felt a little more of the past wash off my shoulders. But not everything was smooth. One afternoon, a senior executive, let's call him Mr. Wallace, stormed into my office, face red, voice sharp. Leanne, he barked. What's the meaning of these revised employment contracts? You're inflating cost projections by 30%.
So?
I didn't flinch. I stood up slowly and met him eye to eye. I'm adjusting them to match the actual cost of treating your employees like humans. He blinked. I'm not here to make the rich richer, I added. I'm here to make sure no one ends up sleeping on a park bench because someone...
And the owner told her, the boss man told her she can do it. So you take your red, happy-go-lucky butt on somewhere. If you got a problem, you go talk to Daryl, not me, because you about to get checked, boo. Check him, Leanne. She already doing
The chain didn't care enough to ask. He scoffed. You think you're some kind of savior? I smiled, calm. No, I think I'm someone who survived. And I won't let others drown quietly.
I know that's
Darnell
right.
backed me up later in the board meeting,
That's
publicly,
right.
without hesitation. You don't like our new structure, he told Wallace. You're welcome to find another company that values profits more than people. That's not...
That's right. If you don't like it, you can hit the door, okay?
who we are anymore. Wallace resigned a week later. No one missed him. Outside of work, something else began to shift. Darnell and we got closer. Not romantically, not yet, but something deepened.
Not yet.
He wasn't the same man who barked orders and never looked up from his phone. He was softer now, more thoughtful. He started checking in on Emmanuel, my brother, bringing him basketball shoes and asking about his classes. He even began visiting my mama, who still couldn't walk on her own, bringing her stories and listening to hers. One night, she laughed so hard at one of his jokes that she spilled soup down her dress and didn't even care. I don't know what happened to that man, she said later, but it's like God cracked his heart open.
Yes,
I
indeed.
nodded. Maybe he did. One Saturday morning, Darnell and I visited the old park where he found me that night. The bench was still there. He had a small plaque added to it. It read, "May we never overlook those right in front of us." I stared at it for a long time, silent. Then Darnell said, "I come here sometimes now, to remind myself." "Remind yourself of what?" "That I used to be blind." I turned to face him. "You weren't blind, you just never had to look." That night, I had a dream. I was back on that bench, snow falling, breath fading, but this time I wasn't alone. 100 women stood behind me, all dressed in uniforms, all with quiet strength in their eyes, and behind them Darnell, watching. Not with pity, with respect. The next morning, I woke up early and wrote a speech. I had been invited to speak at a national summit on labor ethics in Chicago. CEOs, policymakers, journalists, people who, like Darnell once was, had no idea what it meant to be poor, tired, invisible. I stood on that stage 3 weeks later, the lights bright, the crowd buzzing, and I told my story, all of it. How I lost my apartment, how I slept in a closet, how I was fired for being late by 6 minutes,
Damn.
how I almost froze to death, how someone saw me just in time, and how that changed
Guess you
everything.
gotta tell it all, though.
And I ended with this. We don't just need more policies. We need more people willing to see each other, to listen, to
Yep.
ask, "Are you okay?" before it's too late. Because no one should disappear in silence. The applause was thunderous. Some people cried, some stood. Afterwards, 2 CEOs came up to me and asked how to start their own employee care programs. The ripple had begun. That night, back in my apartment, yes, my own, I stood in the bathroom brushing my hair. I
sure she
paused,
got her
looked in
own
the mirror
place.
again. Same woman, same eyes, but no longer surviving. Bleeding. The following spring, Darnell received the Human Dignity Award at a private ceremony hosted by a national nonprofit that recognized corporations for changing labor practices. He hadn't even known he was nominated. He stood on stage, trophy in hand, looking like he was still trying to figure out how he got there. "I don't deserve this alone," he began, because the real shift didn't start with a policy or a headline. It started with one woman, one moment of truth, and a very cold bench. He didn't say my name. He didn't need to. Everyone knew. That weekend, he invited me and my family over for dinner, not as staff, not as guests, as equals. Mama wore her Sunday best, her new walker gliding easily on the polished floors. Emmanuel talked non-stop about his college plans. Darnell sat with us in the kitchen, laughing and passing cornbread like we'd known each other forever. "I gotta say," Mama grinned looking at Darnell, "you clean up nice, but your greens still need seasoning." He laughed so hard he almost dropped his fork. For the first time in my life, I saw what healing looked like across a table. Messy, warm, alive. Weeks turned into months. The Invisible No More initiative expanded to over 30 corporations after the summit.
Good.
I started doing workshops for employers across the country. We launched an online portal for domestic workers to report unsafe or unfair treatment. The stories poured in. We built systems. We built safety nets. We built dignity. 1 year after the night on the bench, I returned there alone. The snow had returned, soft and clean. The plaque on the bench had begun to gather a little rust. I wiped it gently with my glove and sat down. I closed my eyes.
I like what it says. May we never overlook those right in front of us. What is that T in front of the right? But that's what it says. I think that's a little typo of a glitch on the screenshot. I mean, not the screenshot, but what they made. But yeah, may we never overlook those right in front of us, okay?
Not to sleep. To breathe. To remember. I thought about that girl who had nothing but 6 layers of worn clothes and a heart full of quiet fight. I thought about how close I came to becoming just a headline. And I thought about how one man who never saw me finally did. And didn't just feel bad, but changed.
Yep.
That night, I wrote something. Not for a press release. Not for a blog.
But
for me.
Oh.
A letter. Dear Leanne, you were never invisible. The world just needed new eyes to see you. You were never small. They just never looked deep enough. You were never weak. Not when you walked to work without food. Not when you slept on the floor to send money home. Not when you endured it all with grace. You changed everything. Don't forget that. I framed the letter and hung it in my office, right beside a photo of Mama smiling in her church hat and a photo of Darnell and Emmanuel high-fiving at his college orientation. One day, I received a letter, a handwritten one, delivered to my desk. It was from Jasmine, the young catering staff member I met after the gala. She was now working at a nonprofit that helped women transition out of homelessness. She wrote, Miss Monroe, I saw you when I didn't see myself. Now I help others see themselves too. I sat quietly after reading it, and I cried. Because that's when I knew. This wasn't just my redemption, it was a chain reaction. Months later, Darnell stopped by my office unannounced, carrying a wrapped package. He handed it to me, eyes twinkling. What is this? I asked, peeling away the navy blue paper. Inside was a framed photo. It was a shot of me walking onto the gala stage, back straight, dress flowing. Below it, in bold letters, it read, The woman who changed the mirror. I laughed, tears stinging my eyes. You're getting sentimental in your old age, he smirked. Call it perspective. I don't know what tomorrow holds. Maybe I'll write a book. Maybe I'll start my own foundation. Maybe I'll just keep helping one company, one family, one person at a time. But I do know this. I was once a woman, the world passed by. Now I'm a voice that helps the world stop and listen. Not because
That's what another thing I like about this. Not only did her situation help him to change and help others to change, but she didn't take her situation and look at it selfishly. She also decided to help more people. Sometimes people can be selfish and just be like thankful that they made it out and they don't try to, help nobody else. So I appreciate this story time where he changed. He decided to help her, help his other employees, and bring it out to his business, and had a gala. Then other people came and they started doing it as well, paying more attention to their employees. And then just like how she inspired the other young lady, and now the other young lady is doing the same. It's just a ripple effect. Don't want God do it, honey.
demanded it, but because I endured long enough to deserve it. Hi, besties. Leanne Monroe's journey proves that redemption isn't about charity. It's about seeing the invisible, restoring dignity, and using power to lift others up. One act of awareness changed not just a life, but an entire legacy. Now it's your turn to reflect. Have you ever been in need without truly seeing them? Let's change that. Together. Redemption isn't about charity. It's about seeing the invisible, restoring dignity, and using power to lift others up. One act of awareness changed not just a life, but an entire legacy.
Yes, indeed. Have you ever walked past someone in need and kept going? Let's change that. Let's help somebody that can't help themselves. And everything don't have to be recorded and blasted all over social media. You can help people without putting them on blast, honey child. Reach out and touch somebody, okay? All right? Yes, indeed. This was a good story time. I was like, let me switch it up. We always doing the story times about the husband cheating or the wife cheating and this and that there. And don't get me wrong, I got plenty more lined up like that, because baby, them be tea. Like, what's tea? Like, God. But I wanted to bring something different. I was hoping at the end that it was going to be a rom-com. Well, not com, because I think rom-com is romance and comedy. But I was hoping this was going to be a romance at the end and that they was going to end up getting married. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but that's okay. It was a lot of life lessons learned in this. He learned that his employees are humans too. They are people. And just because you're a billionaire don't mean that you get to walk all on top of your employees or think that people that walk on the sidewalk are less than you, because that's not true. Because you will have to walk on the sidewalk one day, and you probably have walked on it, because you ain't always been a billionaire. Now, some people are born into money, but y'all get my drift. But this was a good story time. Tell me what y'all think. If you can help someone in need, would you? If you walk past someone that's in need and you can help them, would you? Leave y'all comments down below. Tell me what y'all think about this story time. If you have not subscribed, click that subscribe button. Click that bell notification for all so that you never miss an upload. Don't forget to like and share the video and hype up the video as well. And as we say before we go, love, peace, and hair grease. Smooches. Bye. Have a wonderfully blessed day, you guys. Bye.
I should have known that I would get a home. No, I let another man break your heart.